All right, welcome to Citizens Forum exclusively on TV Sapiencia. I'm Joe Man. It's so nice to be here with you. Let's begin with the top stories we tracked for this week. All right, we begin with the Senate, with the Nigerian Senate that is set to probe Buhari's government, of course, Buhari and Emefiele over the over 30 trillion naira ways and means. And this is simply the Senate coming up with the idea that the 30 trillion naira, over 30 trillion naira loans that the President Muhammadu Buhari administration did borrow from the central bank needed to be probed. Just to put this in perspective, when all of these loans and ways and means loans was going on, Nigerians called attention to it because that administration violated every law of the country. For instance, the CBN Act that says before the presidency or the executive borrows any money from the CBN, it must pay out its outstanding. President Muhammadu Buhari administration violated that all the time. Also, the laws of the country that says never should the CBN loan to the federal government any money in excess of 5% of the previous year's revenue earned by the government. The President Muhammadu Buhari's administration violated all of that. So the Senate is set to probe, but then the question will really be, why was the Senate, same people in the Senate then are still same people who are now coming out to say all of these things because of the economic hardship? We wait to see the outcome of that. Another one that happened within the week was Emefiele himself threatening the Senate President, Senator Akpabio, of a 25 billion naira lawsuit for defamation. And this is because the Senate President has insisted that one of the reasons why we are where we are, economic hardship, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration has been called by every section of Nigerians to do something about the economy. That the whole reason is because of the bad economy that was inherited from the actions of Mr. Emefiele. And Mr. Emefiele has come to defend himself saying, wait a minute, if you don't apologize, I'm going to slam you with this lawsuit. Because as he says, nothing was done during his tenure without the authorization, approval, or directive of the former president, President Muhammadu Buhari. So these were not actions taken by him in his capacity. And also reminded Senate President Akpabio that he was a key member of FEC that did most of this approval, that gave most of these authorizations, that he was also a key member of Buhari's cabinet. And so just to remind him that they are the ones responsible and not him as central bank governor, somebody who simply takes directive, as it were, from the president. That is the second thing we tracked this week. All right, one of the sad things that happened this week also was an Islamic cleric was seen. The viral video where he called on the wife of Mr. President, Senator Remi Tinubu, to be killed. And he says it is Allah and the Holy Quran that has declared that she is an infidel. And what Allah instructs is infidel should be killed. And he says she's not only just an infidel, but she's a leader of infidels. Infidels here being Christians. And leader of infidels here being she's a pastor. That the Muslim ticket was simply a scam, and that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's wife, Senator Remi Tinubu, should be killed as instructed by Allah. And also one other thing that happened in the week was to Benue State, where the Benue Security Council has issued 2 weeks ultimatum to headers in the state, to invaders in the state, and criminal headers who move about causing chaos in their community, giving them 2 weeks ultimatum to leave and go back to where they come from. Just to put this in proper perspective, this is not the first time this is coming from Benue State, either from the Security Council or the governor himself. I mean, Governor Atom had a long-running battle with these elements in that state. Even we recall when he himself admitted that he had been marked for death by these groups. We remember when he was chased in his farm by these guys. And so will this amount to anything? Even though the open grazing prohibition bill in 2017 is law in that, sorry, not bill, but act, is in use in that state, but implementation has always been a problem. After 2 weeks, does the Benue State have what it takes to hit these people hard when many of their citizens are there in IDP camps and these invaders have comfortably taking over their communities and rename them. It's left to be seen what happens after the 2 weeks expiration. Well, we move straight to Osogbo in Osun State, where we did see within the week CSOs stage a protest in the state. And they titled this protest, "Enough is Enough. President Bola Tinubu, let the poor breathe." And this is in continuation of the wave of protest that has been sweeping around the country, where citizens are complaining about hardship, about poverty, and the economic crunch in the country. From Osogbo, we go to Niger State, where we've also seen Niger State is an interesting state right now because Niger State seems to be at the very heart of different kind of protest. And so not only have we seen protests in Niger State, we have also seen the civil servants in Niger State embark on an indefinite strike over what they term in the failure of the government to meet its demand, the state government to meet its demand. And they have vowed to stay on this strike until the state government meets all of their demands. So that is it from Niger State. All right, from Niger State to move to the military, where the Chief of Defense Staff, General Musa Christopher, has called Nigerians who are calling for the military to take over, asking for the military to stage a coup and oust the president as evil. And once again, he restated the commitment of the Nigerian military to defend Nigeria and to defend her democracy. And he has warned all of those people from different parts of the country calling for military intervention that the long arm of the law will catch up with them. And so here is the Nigerian army still restating its commitment to democracy in the country. All right, another very interesting one within the week was the TUC and NLC split on the strike, on the 2-day warning strike that had been issued earlier. First of all, the TUC raised attention to the fact that, well, even though we were part of the meeting and we issued out a joint statement after that meeting that gave the government a 14-day ultimatum to fix the issues, but then that they did not take part in the meeting that declared a 2-day warning strike. And they blamed the Ajero-led NLC for this being the third time they would unilaterally take a decision, make that public announcement on the behalf of the NLC and the TUC. Now, while the TUC agreed that all of the issues are issues that should prompt them to strike, but they should have been given the respect of being consulted before, that they were actually waiting for the end of the 14-day ultimatum. If the government does not do anything, then they meet and review, which is standard labor practice. And yesterday, we saw the TUC now call that the NLC should shelve the strike because it might lead to anarchy. The DSS, on the other hand, has also called on the NLC to shelve the strike because, as they say, they have credible intelligence that hoodlums are planning to hijack this peaceful protest and make it violent. And so they have advised the NLC not to go ahead with this strike. Another thing within the week was former head of state, Gowon, who went to visit Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And after that meeting, first of all, one thing that came out of that meeting was in asking that ECOWAS make a rethink and call on our brothers in Mali, in Burkina Faso, and Niger, get them back into the fold. This is not how ECOWAS should be. But one other thing he called for was telling Nigerians to be patient with the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And that some of these policies take time and they are slow. And Nigerians will see the effect, but not now. Interestingly and sadly, Mr. Gowon used an example of what he considers to be the highest achievement of his administration. And he said this was how it was in Nigeria when he was executing the Biafran War. That Nigerians were saying, no, you can't do this. You are going about it too slow. But that look at now, we executed that war and we won that war. I find that distasteful. He should have used how he handled the economy. He should have talked about the schools he built. He should have talked about the jobs he created. He should have talked about the industries. He had so many things to talk about him doing. But for him to, at a point in the life of Nigerians, where tempers are high around different regions, for him to use how he executed the Biafran War, to liken that to how he believes President Tinubu will win, just so curious. And it really says a lot, not only about him, but our leaders. All right, from Gowon, we move to Sunday Igboho. Of course, we remember Sunday Igboho, the self-styled Yoruba Nation agitator who in 2021 fled the country when the DSS came after him. And he has been in exile in Benin. Long-drawn battle case, we remember all of that. But Igboho is back to Nigeria, and he came back to bury his mother. Definitely shows that he is free now to walk the streets of Nigeria. And we have also heard him making comments in public space, saying, in fact, the hardship we face in Nigeria right now is not a fault of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but should be traced to former President Muhammadu Buhari. And so that is it about Sunday Igboho, just to say Sunday Igboho is back. All right, and finally, one of the things we also tracked within the week was to talk, in plain sight, Nigerians saw the level of hunger in the land when in Niger State and Katsina State, videos and pictures and stories filtered in of hungry Nigerians waylaying truckload of food and looting, helping themselves with the contents of this. And we also saw that how it happened in Niger State was, it went on until the soldiers themselves had to come in, start shooting in the air, and, I don't know how they could save that situation. No one knows the state of the truck. Did they actually meet the truck full or empty? We don't have all of that information. So these are the major things we tracked within the week in Nigeria. All right, still Citizens Forum on Sapiencia's channel.